This video is for entertainment purposes only. Nothing should be taken as factual. This is all my astrological opinion. Please enjoy. Hey everybody, this is Sonia with Melanin Goddess Life. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another celebrity reading. I hope everyone is doing well. I'm doing pretty good myself. So yes, we are about to do another celebrity reading. Haven't done one of these in a while, but I thought that this particular celebrity reading would be a little bit special. Now, today we're going to be focusing on someone just a little bit different. May not be necessarily a celebrity, but this person has gained a bit of notoriety in the last week or so. I'm going to jump right into it. We're going to be looking at the astrology of Carlee Russell. Now, first and foremost, let me give a disclaimer. Nothing that I say in this video can be taken as factual. This is all my astrological opinion. There is nothing that I am alleging to be true, just my opinion based on the astrology. The next thing I'm going to talk about is this young lady seems to have gotten herself into a very serious dynamic. She has alleged some things that are part of an ongoing investigation. So at this point, we don't know what to be true or what to be false. All right. I will say this. If it is to be shown that the circumstances or the story that she told is not truthful, I do believe that she should be held accountable. However, with being held accountable, I do believe that a person can also be granted some grace. And I would hope that people, after the shock and the excitement and everything wears off, that we can really try to extend a level of grace to this young lady. Clearly, there are some things that are probably going on with her on an emotional or deep psychological level that needs to be addressed, probably by a professional. But I just hope that we can show her a bit of empathy. She's young, and we don't make the best decisions when we're young. She's just turning 26 years old. Her frontal lobe is not even developed, and this is where our decision making comes from, and that doesn't fully develop until around the age of 25 or 26. So I'm not trying to give her a pass. I'm not trying to say what she did she shouldn't be held accountable for, but I still believe that she should be extended a level of grace and care and concern. And I hope that she does get the help that she needs, and I hope she has people around her that support her. And with that being said, we're going to be talking about a little bit of getting to know Miss Carlee as best we can through astrology. So without further ado, final thing I will say, please do not leave derogatory or negative comments under this video. They will be deleted and you will be blocked. All right, so let's get started. Carlee Russell was born July 22nd, 1997 in Birmingham, Alabama. I do not have a birth time for her, so we're going to go on the placeholder of 12 noon, which means she had a birthday on yesterday. I hope she was able to celebrate her birthday a little bit. She is now, as of yesterday, 26 years old. This makes her, now without the birth time and being that she's so close to on the cusp, just depending on what day you use as your cusp, maybe the 22nd or the 23rd. She is a late degree Cancer sun, Pisces moon, and a Libra rising. Okay, so when I first took a look at those particular placements, the Cancer sun being at the late degree, it's at the degree of 29, and it sits in her 10th house of public image and standing and how we're seen in the public. In astrology, the 29th degree is what we call an anorexic degree, a critical degree. And also the 29th degree is a fame degree. It's the degree of long-term fame. And her sun sits in her 10th house of her career, public image, public standing. This is the top of the natal chart wheel. So this is where we're most seen. And being that it's at the 29th degree, this is a critical degree. So I think from my interpretation of this sun sitting in the 10th house, this kind of speaks to the notoriety that she's getting, the not being famous, but being infamous, that critical degree, something happening that pushes you into the limelight, that pushes your public image out there, and it may not be just for the best. Okay, she's also a Libra rising, which means she is very much partner oriented, very much relationship oriented. And from what I'm understanding with some of the reports, they're alleging that a lot of this situation that she came up with had to do with a relationship she was in or breaking up from, or there was some type of turmoil going on with the relationship. And I think that there was a third party interfering in the relationship that she had. Now, her moon, she has a Pisces moon. And if we know anything about Pisces moons, those are the most compassionate, warm, spiritual people that you can find. However, they also can have a bit of, if not a bit, a lot of delusion. They can live in a realm of fantasy. They can be prone to lying. They can be prone to making up stories. They can just be prone to not having boundaries, or living in a realm, again, of confusion and delusion, and seeing things the way they want to see them, which may not actually be what's going on. And sometimes Pisces moons don't have the best judgment when it comes to thinking out things. They react more on an emotional level than a logical level. So keep that in mind with that Pisces moon. And with the Pisces moon, sometimes this can set up, people that have mental health issues, maybe substance abuse issues, maybe, they live sometimes in an alternative universe from everyone else. Okay, so I did her relationship activity age, as I do with everyone, and this is the formula I use to determine when a person should come into some type of relationship dynamic, just depending on what is going on with them. This is when their love life should take a turn. And sometimes when we look at that, depending on where you are in your relationship will determine on what that looks like for you. So being that she was, I guess, in a relationship, this could have looked like either the relationship moving forward in a positive way, or the relationship going through a breakup of some sort or some type of challenge. Now, the age in which I came up with that Carlee would have experienced some type of shakeup or changes within her relationship or love life is the age of 25. So being that she just turned 26 on yesterday, this kind of coincides with the alleged rumors or talks of there being some type of problems or issues with regards to the relationship she was in. So 25, again, would have been a pivotal point for her in her love life. Now, her theme of her year. So we're looking at the age of 25. The theme of her year would have been things that have to do with the second house. So in astrology, the second house does represent, number one, it's the first money house of the zodiac. So this is how we earn our money. This is also the house of our material possessions, our daily routines. This is the house of our value, what we place value on, and our self-worth and self-value. So the age of 25, Carlee could have been grappling with how her own self-worth, her own self-esteem, how she values herself or does not value herself, could have come up for her during the age of 25. So this could have been that 25 could have been a big self-evaluation year for her, a big self-esteem type year for her, but really figuring out her self-worth and her value. Now, being that she's had a birthday, her energy is going to shift more into the third house now. So this will be themes of communication. This will be themes around her siblings, her neighborhood. This will be themes around educational pursuits. This will also be themes around, again, educational pursuits, her siblings, how she communicates. This is also the area that governs media attention or media projects. So, of course, now we're really seeing this third house already start to play out with her being in the media for this situation. So she's going to be grappling with this I don't think this is going to die down anytime soon. Okay, it's still an ongoing investigation, so it's not going to be dying down anytime soon. Okay, so let's take a look at her transit charts, and we're going to go back and forth in her natal chart because there's some things that kind of stood out for me in her birth chart that I felt like were very interesting, and that really could speak to a lot of how we came about and how we got here. So when we're looking at Jupiter, let's look at Jupiter in transit right now. Jupiter is the planet of growth, expansion, abundance, and opportunity. It's also the planet of healing and wisdom. And it's also the planet that blows anything up, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. Jupiter's there to expand it. Now, she has Jupiter in her 7th house of one-on-one relationships. So when we look at the 7th house, one-on-one relationships, we do consider it the marriage house, but it's relationships of all kinds. So it could be marriage, long-term committed relationships. It could be family relationships, friends, business, relationships we go in with other people that do services for us. And this is also the area that governs legal and binding agreements of some sort. So we have some legal perspective in this area. With Jupiter being there, and it's been there for the last year because it's about to leave this 7th house in a few months, this would have looked like expansion around her one-on-one relationships. So I don't know when she got into this relationship with this young man. I don't know how long they've been in the relationship, but this could have been very much a focal point for her for the last year around her one-on-one relationships, particularly romantic, friends, family, things of that nature. Now, when we talk about the expansion of things, as I said before, Jupiter blows up everything. People love to just place that big blessing on Jupiter, and it, for the most part, it is, but it's going to expand anything. So if there had been trouble or issues with regards to her romantic relationship, Jupiter would have blown those up. Okay, so we would have seen a lot of expansion, maybe a lot of arguments, maybe a lot of misunderstandings, things of that nature, a lot of drama with regards to this relationship, if that was what has been happening since Jupiter has been in her 7th house. Another thing that I saw when I was taking a look at her chart is in this transit chart, her nodes. Her North Node is also in this same area of the 7th house. Now, the North Node is all about our destiny. This is where we're going, where we're striving to, where we're seeing a new beginning. So, and this is where we're learning new lessons and how to do things. The thing with the North Node is being in the 7th house. This would have been lessons around how Carlee needs to do one-on-one relationships, primarily in a healthy way. And I emphasize a healthy way because there is something in her birth chart that is very concerning to me on how she does relationships. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in the reading. But this North Node, I believe, was a way for her to learn how to do relationships in a healthy way. And the reason I also say that is because the South Node is across the street opposite in the 1st house. The South Node is all about what we need to release, what we have learned, things that no longer serve us, and it's transiting her 1st house. And for me, the interpretation around that is Carlee learning how to do one-on-one relationships in a healthy way, but at the same time, learning how to be an individual in the relationships. If there was any codependency in her one-on-one relationships, and we're not just going to focus on romance, we're going to just say across the board, but if there's been any codependency, whereas she loses herself in relationships, this would have been the time, and it's still the time, that she's learning how to be an individual. She's learning how to stand on her own, and she's releasing any codependent or toxic behaviors that she has when she goes into a relationship. So a lot of times with this could warrant a breakup because this is trying to release you from any unhealthy attachments or any unhealthy ways that you do one-on-one relationships. She also has Chiron in this seventh house, and Chiron is the healer. So this is about her in her seventh house, around her healing, around how she does relationships. So with Carlee, the last year and up, she has about another year or so of this. This was learning how to do healthy one-on-one relationships, and she's still going through that now. The next thing we're going to talk about is her Neptune. Neptune is the planet of our dreams, our intuition, our imagination, delusion, and confusion. Seeing things for what we want it to be and what it may not necessarily be. This is also the planet Neptune warrants sometimes illicit behavior. This could look like drugs. This could look like alcohol. This look like addictive behavior. This could look like theft, things of that nature. So it is transiting her sixth house of health and fitness, both mental and physical health. It's also the area that governs our work environment. So this is where we work with, around, and for other people. And also the area that governs service to others. Now, if we're looking at from the perspective of what's happened here, one of the stories that has been alleged is that on the day of the incident, Carlee left her job and she removed some things from her place of employment. And when I say remove some things, the business did not have knowledge of her removing these things. Fill in the blanks. There was also some alleged, there was also some other things alleged that this was not a one-time incident. So we have Neptune in the sixth house with a lot of mystery around things that have been going on in the work environment. Okay. Now, when we look at it from the standpoint of health and fitness, mental and physical health, we can also apply that to her mental state. I'm wondering, had she been suffering from any type of mental health issues here in the last, probably in the last year or so, or last couple of years? This is not something that probably was just started. I'm thinking this is something that's probably been ongoing for a minute, maybe at least for 2 years or so. But maybe she was dealing with mental health issues. Maybe she's been dealing with depression, because again, the sixth house, health and fitness, mental and physical health. Neptune is about addictive behavior. Neptune is about mental health issues. So she could have been dealing with some mental health issues here in the last year or two. It's very much feasible with this Neptune being in the sixth house. Her judgment being cloudy, not making good decisions around decision making at all. So I'm thinking maybe there could have been maybe some mental health issues that she dealt with. I am not a trained medical professional. I don't know anything about her and her medical background, but she could have had she could have had a mental health break that day. I don't know. But with Neptune being in this area, it is not entirely off the table that there was a tremendous lapse in judgment around this decision she made. And there could have been some type of mental health break that contributed to this. I'm going to leave that right there. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is she has Saturn. Saturn is the planet of structure, the law, discipline, duty, responsibility, and restriction. It's transiting her fifth house. Now, Saturn stays in the house for about 2.5 years. So Carlee has a substantial amount of time still left with this Saturn in her fifth house. I would say it's possibly been there maybe a year and a half, and it's currently in retrograde. So when you have Saturn going in the fifth house governs our romantic life, our dating life, romance. It has to do with children. Children, procreation, pregnancy, our creativity, things of that nature. So with Saturn going through that fifth house, this could have definitely put a strain on her relationship, because this is the dating house. This is our romantic life. So the fifth house, putting restraints on our relationship, putting restrictions on our relationship or her dating life. This could have brought a lot of chaos or a lot of problems with regards to her romantic life. Now, this is also the area that governs children. She alleges that there was a small child on the side of the road. And that's how this pretty much got kicked off, because she did make a 911 call and alleged that there was a child on the side of the road. And it's kind of poignant that this Saturn is in her 5th house of children. Now, this is also the area that governs pregnancy. And being that there are so many rumors swirling around, there was one that alleges that she was pregnant. Don't know if that's true or not. Again, I'm just going on what has been put out in the public, so I don't know what's true and what's not true. But it alleges that she was pregnant. With this Saturn being there, I can't totally say I don't believe it. Now, what I can say is, with this Saturn being in Pisces, she may have alleged that she was pregnant. I would not be surprised if a story came out, or she may have led people to believe that there was a pregnancy. Whether it's true or not, we will never know. Also, if we look at this Saturn in the 5th house, we can also look at that as potentially, if she was pregnant, it may have ended in the pregnancy not coming to fruition. You can spell it out the way you want to, however you want that to look. But this is a lot of work, a lot of kind of turmoil, topsy-turvy in this area of her life with regards to her romantic life, children, and pregnancy. And again, she's going to have this here at least for another 1.5 years. So, we'll see what happens with that, okay, as we move forward. Next thing we're going to talk about is this Pluto in her 4th house. Now, Pluto in the 4th house transiting. Pluto takes about 20 years to transit a house. Pluto is the planet of transformation, death, and rebirth, literally and figuratively. It's the planet of power, abuse, control. It is the planet of criminal activity. It's the planet of secrets. So with it transiting her 4th house, it's been there for quite some time, a few years. It still has a lot more years to go here. And being that it was in retrograde, and I think it was in retrograde on that day. So let me go back and see. Yes, it was. On July 13th, which is when she made the phone call, this Pluto was in retrograde in her 4th house, and the 4th house represents family. So it represents family, our family history, our emotional stability is here. This is the area that governs our parents, primarily the most nurturing parent. We usually put the mother here. And our foundations and things of that nature. And also has feminine energy here, and our actual home life and our actual physical space that we live in. So Pluto was here in retrograde, and it was at the 29th degree. As we talked about, that 29th degree being an anorexic degree, a very critical degree, here in the 4th house. And this representing secrets and things of that nature. It says to me, if I have to interpret this the way I need to interpret it, as a lot of secrets around this family and family dynamic. I feel like that there's going to be a lot that comes out, not just about her, but about her home life and her family life, that may answer a lot of questions, or may have us with more questions about what is really going on, with regards to this family, because I think a lot of this ties into her upbringing and her family life. We'll go back to that, and I'll tell you why I believe that. But this was definitely an indicator of a shakeup happening with her family life, which we see that playing out. I mean, when the whole thing started, no parent wants to hear that their child is missing. Like, that is a devastation in itself right there. And then you go, an entire couple of days not knowing where your child is, that is enough to tear a family apart and your family members apart. So with this Pluto in this anorexic degree, this was something that really, really rocked their family, and it will continue on because now they're experiencing the fallout of this. So what this also could do is put a light on their family dynamic, and maybe that's not something that they want to do. I'm not alleging that anything's going on illicit with this family, but I'm sure that they really never wanted to have themselves in the spotlight with this kind of controversy. So we'll just wait and see what happens with regards to the fallout from this. Yes, it's disrupted her family life in a very impactful way. And I think it's going to get a little bit worse as the months go on and as they continue to investigate this case. We talked about her North Node and South Node in her 1st and 7th house. She also has she has Mercury transiting her 11th house, friends, groups, organizations, and as we know, the 11th house also represents the masses. This is the worldwide reach. Mercury is about communication. And if anything, we have been talking about this case on a not just a local scale, but this has been across the country. This has been a hot topic. So that Mercury has been lighting up this area of her life where she has been the topic of conversation. Hell, I'm talking about her now. So with regards to that, she also has Mars in this 11th house. So this is definitely brings on the drama, brings on the passion. This story is so illicit. It has so many twists and turns. It's just a lot. It's a lot. So, and again, she had the sun in her 10th house, and we talked about how that's highlighting her and putting her public image and public standing like right in the forefront, because the 10th house governs your public image. Okay, so let's backtrack a little bit, because there are some things in her natal chart that I wanted to address that kind of tie together with what we talked about and what's going on with her transits. Now, one of the things that stood out for me again is in her birth chart, she has Pluto in her 2nd house. So Pluto not only can transform you with regards to your money and finances, it transforms you with regards to your self-esteem. So I'm wondering if she's struggled all her life with self-esteem issues of some sort. Now, her Pluto is actually in the sign of Sagittarius. And sometimes when you have Pluto in the Sagittarius, this can make for a person that can be very, can have have a belief system that they're very dogmatic about, that they will pretty much hit you over the head with. I find with this is these are people that can get attached to religion and use it as a weapon against other people, or they can possibly look down on other people that don't believe the same thing that they believe. Okay. The next thing that really stands out for me is she has a stellium in her 4th house. So she has 3 planets here in her 4th house, which means a lot of her focus is on her family. And she has Jupiter here, she has Uranus here, and she has Neptune here. Now, if we piggyback off of that Pluto, that Jupiter in Aquarius in her 4th house can do the same thing. This can be equated to, in the birth chart, someone that either comes from a really big family, someone that could possibly come of a family that has affluence, or they're very known in their community, or they have a big reputation or valued reputation within their peers or their community. This also could be her being on the recipient end of inheriting things from her family, particularly around real estate, or something to that effect, real estate or land. And if I'm not mistaken, her mother is a real estate agent. So this could be her coming into or acquiring something through inheritance through her family. Now, this can also look like someone that comes from a family that is highly, highly religious. And if I'm not mistaken, her dad is a pastor. But with this Jupiter in the fourth house, this can also bring people that are very hypocritical. Not to say that this is her family. I'm just saying on how this could play out. So this could play out where people that are very hypocritical, you know, they believe one thing, but they don't necessarily live the same way. So you have to be kind of mindful. And these are people that can use, again, religion as a weapon, or they can be somewhat of religious zealots, and until it's kind of like over the top, kind of crazy. She also has Uranus in the fourth house, which makes me wonder if they moved around, if she moved around a lot as a child, or if her home life was somewhat different than other people. Maybe it was had someone with mental health issues in her family, or close into her immediate family, or it just made for a very different type of upbringing. And then she has Neptune in the fourth house. Now, Neptune in the fourth house can bring an array of things. This could look like someone that has experienced in their lifetime flooding in their home, water damage in their home. This could also look like someone that may not have been raised by their parents, or maybe had a parent that was kind of distant, even when if both parents were in the household, maybe one was emotionally distant. This could look like her being raised in foster care or by another family member. This could look like someone in her family dealing with mental health issues or drug issues, something to that effect. Or being in a household, again, that religion thing comes up again, where you may have had a parent or a household where religion was really, really beat over your head. Like it was like going to church 7 days a week, something to that effect. So it could have looked like that. And then whereas she may have created a false reality of what her home life really was. Sometimes when you have Neptune in the fourth house, you could be in a household where all chaos is going on, but you create the story in your head of what you want your family to look like, and you start to believe it. I'm just interpreting it. Okay. Another thing that stands out for me is she has Moon in her Moon in Pisces in her fifth house. So this is a house of creativity, romance, dating again. So this could have been just a lot of being unrealistic about her dating life and her romantic relationships that she went into. So we have that. She also has Saturn in the seventh house in her natal chart, which makes for difficulties in one-on-one relationships. Now, the biggest thing that we're going to talk about, and I'm going to finish it out with this, is she has Venus squaring Pluto. Venus is the planet of love, creature comforts, money, things of that nature. But we're going to focus on love. And Pluto is the planet of obsession, the planet of control, abuse, all those things. When you have Venus square Pluto, that is not the easiest placement with love. This could warn a person that has a very obsessive nature when it comes to romantic dealings with other people. This is someone that can get very, very possessive with the other person. This is someone that can get into abusive relationships, whether that's mentally, physically, financially. This also is an energy that garners love triangles. So this person finds themselves always in some type of love triangle. It's never really just them and the other person. There could be a lot of cheating or lying or deception in her romantic relationships. This is also an energy around a person that is very all or nothing about a relationship. There's a saying for Venus and Pluto type people is that their energy is you have to be willing to die for the relationship, because it is just that intense for them. This could get this person into a lot of stalking situations, whether they're being stalked or they're stalking someone else. And it also can just get them in situations whereas they are not thinking clearly, and they make very extreme decisions around their relationship. Also can be very demanding when it comes to their partner, wanting to like possess them, wanting to, know their whereabouts at all times. Just they have a great need to possess and engulf their partner, which is not healthy at all. And unfortunately, she does have Venus square Pluto, and her Venus is in Leo, and we know Venus in Leo is all about the drama. They love a good drama when it comes to love. Okay, so in conclusion, again, I want to send out some healing, positive vibes for Carlee. Again, I do believe she should be held accountable if it is discovered that she fabricated this story. But I also will extend her grace with regards to that, because she does deserve grace. I hope that she can get the help that she needs, and I hope that her family can come together and help her in any way that she needs. With regards to her, she's got a lot of lessons to learn around how to do relationships healthy. I hope that this experience, or whatever it is that she's the outcome of this, has taught her a lesson. I hope that she does get some mental health assistance, because I do believe that she needs it. And I just wish her the best. I wish her the best. So hopefully, I may not have answered any questions, but maybe I've given a little insight on the inner workings of Miss Carlee. Again, I'm not alleging anything to be true. This is all my opinion. If you would like your own personal reading with me, please visit my website at www.melaningoddesslife.biz. Follow me on all the social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and most importantly, my YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for your continued support, and you guys have a great day. Bye-bye.